I suppose I'm eating cheese. I mean, you can eat cheese on the ladder. Heh. Alright, wait. I want to do something. I want to pause the music. And the reason I'm going to pause the music is because I've wanted to do a little demonstration for people. We have 2 videos that are already on the YouTube channel. One of them is called Bob Ross and the Joy of ZvT. And basically what it is a sort of picturesque, relaxed, and informative approach to how do we enjoy these matchups in the basic capacity. What are the broad strokes on this canvas that we call Interloper, this map, with the bramble bushes and the cliffs and the pathways and the overlords and that sort of thing. So we've got a nice ZvT here, and I'll try and describe what really is the joy of ZvT. In my opinion, it starts with a base. Because if you take a base, you increase the possibilities that are open to you with this. This second base economy could be roaches, it could be lings, it could be queens, it could be lurkers or hydras or mutas, whatever you want, whatever you desire. And then I'll go for a gas in a pool. So why is it so joyful and amazing to take a gas right now? That's because we've satisfied this 16 out of 16. If you do the division, 16 divided by 16 is 1. And that 1 represents minimum saturation at a base that you own. This is my main base, and I want to try and have 16 workers as much of the time as I can. So another worker is being rallied here. Notice I have 2 workers per patch. Nice, nice. That means there's no downtime where they have to wait to mine again. And you're getting full value from this location. So at the 19 Overlord, I'm going to drone one more time. And this drone's going to go down to my natural. I'm flying my Overlord over to the Terran's second base. We're going to see what the state of the game is. I took a second base. So the question that I have right now in this ZvT is, did the Terran take a second base? I'm taking the Zergling's speed, my first 100 gas, taking a look with this Overlord, and we see a base. Excellent. So I'm going to drone, and I'm going to have an economy and macro race with my opponent. There's a Reaper. How wonderfully it moves with those jetpacks. Amazing. I'm going to make an Overlord now. I have 31 out of 36. I'll make another Queen from the main. Injecting both bases, increasing my larva income, so I can make more Zerg stuff over time. Make more of those bugs. This Reaper is monitoring the timing of my third base. I'm making lots of queens. Let's put another little drone into this wonderful extractor we have. Where did the Reaper go? Looks like it's darting around. So let's lay creep tumors with our queens now, after we injected. Inject. Inject. So both of my bases are injected, and I have 2 creep tumors live in the map. Wonderful. Overlord speed after ling speed. That'll allow me to get the information I need to make more of the smart decisions and less of the bad decisions. Queen's going down here to the natural. I see a little Reaper here. What's going on? One of the key questions you can ask in the ZvT is, for the Terran's early minerals, are they making Hellions or Marines? I don't know yet. I'm going to use these Zerglings to find out. This base has a red number, so I'm going to take a gas. And I'm going to attack this supply depot. I see a Viking. I killed that. Alright, so it is Marines. So against Marines, I like to go double Evo Chamber. Get lots of upgrades, make my units very fancy and effective. Overlord speed is done. There's a third command center, so they intend to get a 3-base economy at least at some point in the distant future. I'll have my queens go and anchor my most recent base. We're going to spread creep from it and inject it as well. Okay. I went into the main, looking for some stuff. All I saw were Marines. I do see a second gas being made here. Oh, that would be nice. How wonderful. Now their build is messed up because I killed the SCV that was building the command center. Let's keep droning. A tank with a wall is a defensive posture move, so I want to focus on economy. If the opponent defends, you can drone. If they attack, then you should defend. Simple. Okay. It's around 5 minutes into the game. I'm just going to get 1 spore per base to make my life a little bit easier. If there's a Banshee, if there's a Liberator, if there's a Raven, if there's a Medivac, if there's any number of annoying Terran air units, I'll have a little bit of a way to deal with that. So the Vikings attacking my Overlord. Let's send the ladies, see if they can save this and potentially kill the Viking. Oh, 1 hit from killing him. Astounding. Okay, Lair's on the way. Let's get another... Now comes the exciting time where we have to defend a big attack. So let's bring the queens, bring the spores, hotkey the 4th base, taking all lings. Come on, queens. It's gonna be dicey. It's gonna be tough. Let's get a Hydra Den. Hydralisks and banelings are very exciting and fun units to make. So notice right now, the Terran can't actually shoot my base from where they're setting up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to counterattack with a bunch of my Zerglings, and then I'll defend with the rest of my stuff. So this is my Zergling counterattack, and I want to attack their supply line, so that their army can't grow any more than it already has. Looks like they're not rallying units, which means their army isn't growing, which is nice for me. So I'm attacking here, putting pressure on workers at multiple bases. Looks like they're going to try and commit here. Queens are right-click to focus on the Medivacs. Medivacs gain value over time as energy units, so I want to make sure those are eliminated first. And that's the Joy of ZvT. Are there any questions from the class? Zerg versus Terran is often a very high intensity, high aggression matchup. Often, you need to consider where the Terran wants to fight and how to create action elsewhere. If you're against a really big tank attack, often you feel like, I need to fight this. Many times it's best to strike far from that location, because that's where the Terran is at their strongest. The opponent gave up quick, but they lost everything. What would you say is more important, hitting your macro or interrupting the opponent's build? In my opinion, there are 2 roads to success in moving up the ladder. One side of it is you can focus on hitting precision timings and setting opponents off balance with really key attacks. A progression of aggression, basically. That's the aggressive approach to moving up the ladder. The other approach is an economic kind of emphasis, where you're trying to get ahead and stay ahead in workers, resource collection rate, upgrades, whatever macro edges you can. You can see at a high level, there are some very cheesy players and some very greedy players. Not really either of those approaches is valid. So it depends on your personal preference. What kind of commander do you want to be? Do you prefer being on the front foot or the back foot? I prefer to be on the back foot. That was something that came over from my poker style. My poker style is that same kind of, I want to have the move that is going to work against the most number of players that is the least exploitable. And I think that making a few more workers than your opponent is the least exploitable edge you can take. Where you scout them, you see what their attack is going to be, and as they're moving out, you make a bunch of army and defend. That's my preferred approach. Some people have gotten all the way to GSL Code S with pure cheese. They cheese every single game, and they get very good at the situational knowledge of, if I do this cheese and attack at this time, my opponent can respond in these 4 ways, and I have a planned response to each of those 4 ways. And generally, as a constant cheesing player, you have more experience in those situations than the person getting cheesed. So I'm of the opinion that neither is necessarily more correct than the other. It depends on preference, and it's kind of refreshing that StarCraft allows you to focus on whatever area of the spectrum you want.